A WWE superstar's performance starts with their entrance, something that may seem like a routine bit of business before the bell rings, but it is in fact important for various reasons. The entrance not only sets the tone for what is to come, but can really help a performer get across to the audience just who their character is, quickly establishing their alignment and personality in the process. For some, the entrance is actually a highlight, sometimes the highlight of their entire presentation. Hello, the Ultimate Warrior. Hello, the Sandman. It's incredible to think about just how many different ways that short journey from backstage to the ring can go wrong. My name is Tom Campbell from Cultaholic.com, and these are 10 infamous WWE entrance botches. Join us. Number 10, the Underflamer. The Undertaker's entrance is inarguably one of, if not the greatest in wrestling history. The gong, the lights cutting out, the iconic music, the emergence of the dead man, the slow walk, and yes, the pyro, all work in perfect harmony to create a spine-tingling experience. On one regrettable occasion, the experience was not so much spine-tingling as flesh-burning for Mark Calloway. At the 2010 Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Taker was made to defend his World Heavyweight title inside the steel structure in the show's main event. As he did so, however, something went wrong, and flames shot directly into his upper body, including his face. Despite coming close to being fully engulfed, the Phenom somehow managed to retain his composure and not only walk it off, but stay out there and wrestle for another 40 minutes or so until the bout's conclusion. Though he suffered first and second degree burns to his neck and chest, the situation could have been much worse. The Phenom credits wetting his hair and wearing a long sleeve coat as reasons why the damage was limited. Needless to say, the pyro guy was immediately relieved of all of his duties following the balls up. Number 9, Dead Man Stalin. Back with The Undertaker now, and thankfully, he's not being turned into the extra crispy dead man on this occasion. Almost 7 years before the Elimination Chamber incident, Taker had another notable entrance snafu that, mercifully, only resulted in embarrassment rather than injury. It took place at Vengeance 2003, where he was set to take on some young punk called John Cena. This was during The Undertaker's Big Evil phase, and he came out with a motorcycle like some sort of Chuck Palumbo wannabe. Normally, this would mean him coming down the ramp and doing a lap of the ring before parking his hog at ringside, but this time things did not go as planned. As he made his way out, the bike's engine simply died, leaving Taker scrambling to restart it. He couldn't get it to work, however, and was forced to abandon his ride and simply walk to the ring like some sort of two-legged idiot. In fairness, he managed to pull it off without anyone clocking what was really going on. Now, a similar incident occurred during a 2001 episode of SmackDown, but on that occasion, the American Badass managed to get his motor going again. Number 8, side splitting. If an entrance is supposed to captivate the viewer's attention from the off, then Melina certainly had the right idea when she made her way to the ring. Whether she was riding solo or accompanying either Eminem or just Johnny Nitro himself, the former WWE Women's and Divas champion would ensure all eyes were fixated on her. She did this by putting one leg on the ring apron, followed by the other, resulting in her doing the splits, and then entering the ring under the bottom rope. The tiny belt-sized skirts that she wore while doing this probably drove some of you deviants wild, but I only watched Melina matches for the articles and nothing else. Impressive as the entrance was, it did always look like something could potentially go wrong, and eventually it did. At the 2007 Survivor Series, Melina attempted her entrance, which had been modified to show her climbing onto the ring apron, springing off the bottom rope, and landing in a split before getting in under the bottom strand. On this night, she slipped and fell off the apron. To her credit, she attempted it again and pulled it off, and got to kiss Mickie James at the end of her match. So, not a bad night. Not a bad night, all things considered. Number 7, start as you mean to go on. When Lucha Libre sensation Mystico signed with WWE in 2011, the hopes internally were that this masked superstar could potentially one day replace Rey Mysterio as the premier Hispanic star. While Mystico was one of the most thrilling superstars south of the border, Sin Cara was one of the biggest train wrecks in WWE from pretty much his first night in. Debuting on the post-WrestleMania 27 episode of Raw by attacking US champion Sheamus, who'd been beating up Daniel Bryan at the time, Sin Cara may have looked impressive with the lovely Hurricane Rana and a huge dive to the outside that he managed to nail perfectly, but more attentive viewers would have been drawn to his first big mistake. For his entrance, Sin Cara would run down to ringside, jump on a trampette that was discreetly hidden for the TV audience, bounce off into the air, and complete a diving forward roll over the top rope and into the ring. In theory, anyway, that was what was meant to happen, because on his first attempt, the silly bollocks misjudged the jump and sent himself stomach first into the top rope before almost coming down on his head and neck. Bless. Number 6, a rookie mistake. Towards the end of his first WWE run, Matt Hardy found himself acting as the mentor to NXT rookie Justin Gabriel, back when NXT was a bastardized game show, and not your indie wrestler dream match factory that we came to know and love, and then lose. Okay. Sadly, Gabriel was not credited as being one of Hardy's MFers, Mattitude followers, at this time. The sensei of Mattitude was entrusted in showing the promising prospect the ropes, and really, he could have literally started with showing him how the damn things work, because he could have avoided an embarrassing situation if he had chosen to do so. Hardy, flanked by Gabriel, was making his entrance for a superstar showdown with Carlito when he went to do his signature V1 pose on the middle rope. As he did so, his rookie, for some mad reason, went to the same side of the ring and stood on the bottom rope while also pulling up the top rope. This unbalanced Matt and sent him arse over tea kettle, flipping him over the top and to the floor. Hilariously, most GIFs of this blooper don't show Hardy landing on his feet, the abrupt cutting making it look like a devastating Royal Rumble elimination instead of a solid save. Number 5, slipping on the grandest stage. When Ultimo Dragon signed with WWE in 2003, he had 2 items to cross off his bucket list while working for the company. First, the ex-WCW star wanted to perform inside the hallowed Madison Square Garden for the first time in his career, and secondly, he wanted to wrestle at the Showcase of the Immortals. The Japanese legend got to cross them both off at the same time when he was booked in the Cruiserweight title open at WrestleMania 20. Truth be told, the Dragon's WWE run had been a bit of a dud up to this point, outside of his stirring debut, which, as luck would have it, also occurred inside the world's most famous arena. A match at Mania was his chance to show WWE fans just what he was actually capable of on the grandest stage after months of just spinning his wheels. And the poor bloke went and slipped right out of the chute. Not only that, but after standing on this imaginary banana peel, Ultimo then lost his footing on the second rope inside the ring whilst trying to pose for the crowd. Sadly, this 1-2 punch of blunders is the most memorable thing about Dragon's time working for Vince McMahon's organization. Number 4, a mysterious trapdoor malfunction. Unlike Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio is a former WCW masked sensation who enjoyed, and continues to enjoy, a great career in WWE. Rey made the perfect first impression on his debut, beating Chavo Guerrero in a grand match that began with one of the most spectacular entrances in WWE history, as Mysterio was launched from beneath the stage up into the air via a trapdoor. Over time, Rey's entrance was modified, likely to either put less pressure on his notoriously knackered knees or to save production crew on setup time. Though retired from full-time duty, the trapdoor was occasionally busted out on special occasions, such as WrestleMania 26, when Mysterio was set to take on CM Punk. Unfortunately, on the night, there was a malfunction, and the biggest little man didn't jump out of the sky as desired. On the televised broadcast, the camera simply cut to the crowd after the pyro went off, and Mysterio didn't appear, and then he was magically there with the camera cut back. Fan footage, however, shows that Rey had the indignity of crawling out of the hole almost 45 seconds after he should have exploded out of it. Number 3, Broken Rhodes. WWE really rolled out the red carpet for Cody Rhodes' triumphant return, didn't they? After exiting the company while portraying the lamentable Stardust on the little watch shows like Main Event, the American Nightmare rebuilt his reputation and came back as a major star. And major stars warrant major league entrances, especially when their first night back on the job happens to land at WrestleMania. Cody got the trapdoor treatment for a slow reveal that allowed him to really soak in the cheers of the tens of thousands inside the Texas AT&T Stadium. 2 nights later, for the grandson of a plumber's Raw return, things didn't go quite as smoothly. Though it only lasted for a second or two, the platform paused, and Cody's head was just sitting out at the bottom of the frame. Rhodes gave a little wry smile of acknowledgement before the trapdoor kicked back in and rose to the occasion. Obviously, it was just a minor botch, but the image of Cody's head peeking into view is just very funny. Number 2, Slapdash. The Revival were a serious tag team of 2 serious wrestlers going about their serious business. Unless they were caught shaving each other's backs in the shower, of course. What riot? What are they going to do next? What are WWE going to get them on next? They're going to pull my finger or something? Anyway, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson were typically focused on the task at hand, namely beating up their opponents and working their backsides off to elevate tag team wrestling. No flips, just fists. And sometimes slips, apparently. On the December 13th, unlucky for some, 2019 episode of SmackDown, the bruising throwbacks were coming down to the ring to inflict some punishment on the team of Shorty G and Mustafa Ali when Wilder took an unexpected flat back bump on the stage. He'd come through the curtain backwards and managed to catch the back of his leg on a part of the stage set, sending him tumbling over. He carried on as normally as he possibly could, while Dawson didn't even seem to clock what had happened, but Ali and G couldn't help but break out into laughter. What fun we're having. And at number 1, Titus World Slide. For some people, the greatest day of their lives might be getting married to the person they love. Maybe it's the birth of their firstborn. Maybe it's the day they become homeowners. Maybe the day their sports team wins a major championship against all odds. For me, all those simply pale in comparison to what happened at WWE Greatest Royal Rumble 2018. Because the moment I saw Titus O'Neil sprinting down to the ring, trip on the ringside mat, and disappear under the ring itself in one fluid, perfect motion, I knew things would never get any better than that. The poor bloke, who is a former tag team champion in his own right and does so much good work away from the squared circle, well and truly shockmastered himself into the history books with the greatest entrance botch of all time. The museums can keep their Picassos and their Da Vincis for all I care, because as far as I am concerned, Titus World Slide well and truly trumps them when it comes to masterpiece works of art. My only regret is that I cannot see it happen again for the first time.